Woohoo! Welcome back to Hex Token special live stream with an extra word there, special. And of course, we're going to have a lot of fun on this one. This is going to be a lot more laid back, of course. We're going to have a bit of fun with potential ratio trading. What does PulseX give us about that with the testnet? Obviously, it's just a testnet, but does it give us any kind of indication of what overall behavior will be? And of course, we're going to play around with PulseX and have a look at that. The other thing, of course, we're going to have a quick look at Hex price, Hedron price, of course, see where that's at. Why not? And, of course, we're going to get into a few other topics there as well on Twitter. We're going to look at a feed there which asks a similar question about ratio trading. Once Pulsechain mainnet launches, what will people be doing? So we're going to have fun. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Get into the chat. I love your opinions. We're going to do a lot more focused on your comments in the chat during this live stream. So definitely get in there. Once again, of course, if you haven't subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell, of course, for new videos. And, of course, hit the like, smash that like button, and share amongst your friends. That'd be really great as we move the channel up over time. Now, things are just getting warmed up, folks. When Pulsechain does land, it's game changer. It's like a massive earthquake through crypto land. It's going to be very exciting to see a Pulsechain rise up the ranks for domination. It's going to be awesome. And we're all here, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I do have a poll on today, of course, so the poll is in the chat there. After Pulsechain mainnet launches, what coin or token will you acquire, basically swapping or buying the most? And, of course, we've already got 9 votes, so awesome stuff. Get in there and vote, folks. I'm going to put one of these on the community tab as a vote as well. So we'll see. We'll try and line up the live stream with the community. The community is obviously going to smash out a huge poll on that, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got obviously after Pulsechain, we got Hex, of course. We got Pulse, we got PulseX. This is all on Pulsechain, by the way, and of course Inc. other tokens, so incentive token, other tokens, and as an option there as well. Maybe there's something else you're looking to pick up, so why not? We'll put that there. So very cool. We've got 10 votes already. We'll check that out during the live stream, see how we're getting on. For sure, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, once again, let me know in the chat where you're from around the world. I always think that's a bit of fun, finding out where you're from. So let us know in the chat what country you are from. Be pretty cool. We've got Francis in the house already. I love Jesus. Fantastic. Me too, Francis. Got a big heart there as well. Nice one. And a nebulous Mr. X is in the house with the P Hex. I like that too. Hex on the Pulsechain. And, of course, that's the way Richard prefers it, is calling it Hex on the Pulsechain and E-Hex or Hex on Ethereum. So very cool. But P-Hex is quite interchangeable in my view as well. So nice. All right. So very cool. Let me just double check the audio is going up and running. I'm not even checked my audio, but let me just double check that. We got Sachin in the house. I am from Nepal. Hey, Suitman, how's it going? Oh, very good, Sachin. And a big shout out to the Nepalese, I guess is the right way of saying it. Big shout out, Sachin. Good to see Sachin in the chat there. Just trying to see whether I've got the audio on. I've got the mute on. That's probably why. Very cool. All right, that's working perfectly fine. I don't know why I turned the audio off, but there we are. All right, let's get straight into it. We've got Francis in the house as well. The clap's on, and a nebulous Mr. 6 Gulf Coast USA. Gulf Coast USA. Awesome stuff. We got a Generan in there, New South Wales down under. Very good. Always good to see the Aussies in the chat. And Big Bully's got, what flag is that? I can't see. It's too small for me. Let me have a look at the channel. I've got this, like my Clark Kent glasses here. Let me see my Clark Kent glasses. No, still can't see what that is. It's got a nice little flag there. I'm not sure what that is, though. Let me know what that is, Big Bully. For sure. How do you like my Clark Kent glasses? It's really for reading. Magnifies the book. You know, magnifies stuff. So very nice. All right, cool. Hey, look at this Hex chart at the moment. Look at this. We've got a nice on the hourly here, moving up there to 11.79. So very nice to see that as we were coming down this little trend here. It's nice to see that pop back up. So we're, breaking down here a little bit, but we've got a nice little uptrend on that at the moment. So this on the hourly, very cool. And of course, our RSI here is moving up as well. Let's go ahead and look on the 4 hourly. We can have a bit further out. You can see the 4 hourly view there as well. We've still got higher lows, so that's really cool compared to our low the other day of was it 10 cents here. Back on 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the 16th of March. And let's check out the daily here. The daily is, I don't know why there's not much data on there, but daily is not too bad at the moment. The green candle from the looks of it. I thought we had a red candle earlier, but looks like we've got a red candle, a green candle, I should say. The low is 11.44. The high is 11.79 so far, and it looks like we're actually moving up a little bit, so that's nice. That is a Hex price. Let's quickly go to Hedron. And, of course, here we are on the hourly. We're just moving sideways. You can see the Bollinger Band's really tight as we move sideways. Obviously, a big change with liquidity with Hedron and Hex pair. And, of course, that being the biggest thing, it's about $7.5 million worth of liquidity in there compared to, was it about $3.5 million in the USDC Hedron version 3 pair. So interesting there, really tied that up at the moment. The other thing, of course, is plenty of room on the hourly on the RSI, but we'll go to the 4 hourly. That's not going to give us much different a picture there. Yeah, so we've got the RSI moving sideways and the price there. Nothing really sensational happening here. Let's have a look at the daily. And the daily here, of course, we're in day 26. And, of course, the price there, the high so far, 3,199 and the low 3,054. So very tight range there the last 5 days pretty much. So we had a bit better 3 or 4 days ago, but that's probably it. So let's see what happens there. It's going to obviously very tied to the Hex at the moment. But once again, speculation can still override the liquidity linkages there, and we'll see whether it does or not. Very, very cool. It's probably actually protected the price from actually breaking down much easier downwards to the 78.6. So that's, 2,000. So we're currently at 3,074. So it may have given it a bit of protection there moving down so fast if it did decide to break down one more time before moving up. So if it was free to do so, so cool. The market's looking pretty good. $42,182 on Bitcoin and just under 3,000 on Ethereum. So holding up quite nicely. A very pumpamental. But let's get to the main event, folks. We're coming here to talk about Pulsechain Gamification, buying strategies, and favorite tokens. I want your opinions in the chat. We're going to look at people on Twitter, and of course, I'm going to give a few my opinions as well. Let's get into it. It's going to be a fun time. So here we are on PulseX, Testnet, V2B. You can see at the top there. And here we are. We've got the pair here for PLS and PLX. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Very cool. Got a basic view on there. Nice. Sanchez says, I am Nepalese, Aussie. I've been here 8 years. Nice one, Sachin. Big shout out to you. That's a nice combination, to be honest. And Sachin says, do you think we can go lower on Hex, stacking up some bills to put on Hex around 008? Hey, I don't think it's going to go there. It can always do that. Markets can do what they want. So, when I say that, it's really about what on average do I expect to happen. I'm not talking about the edge case. The edge case, we could see a little flash crash. We could see a big OG sell, and anything's possible. But I think that 10 cents is, for me, was the bottom. It did hit it 4 or 5 times over about a week period and so forth. So, let's look at, let's go to the daily on the Hex chart there. We've got this. Am I on the right pair here? I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the right pair. What pair am I on? Hedron. So that's not very helpful. Let me move off the Hedron pair. So I'm on the wrong pair. That's just great. Let me get to the right pair here, folks. How do I do that? Hex USD. I think that's the right one. Let me double check on this. So I do apologize. That was the Hex Hedron pair, not the USD one. So let's jump up there. So that's still the same, 11.8. So nice. All right, so we're since the this is the last day, the 16th of March, we were down here at 10 cents, and we kind of jumped off that. The day before, we were down at 10.18. Back on the 9th of March, we were down at 10.32. So I think we're kind of done there. We bounced off there a couple of times. Now it can still break down from here, but we've still got a higher low at the moment. That's positive. And of course, if we get the indicator on, let's add the RSI in. RSI, and boom, we've still got fairly a good upward movement there and plenty of room to go. So I'm fairly confident that 10 cents was it, but once again we could go down and hit it again. But we've got Pulsechain coming pretty soon. I think the market's aware of that, and of course you got people wanting to start picking it up. I think we're getting more people picking it up, but there we are. So I still think that we're not going to go down below 10, but hey, I can always be wrong. So let's see what happens there. Francis got the hearts in there, love it. And of course, Minty's in here. Can you explain what Richard Hart means when he talks about the AMM buying up liquidity on version 2 and version 3 Uniswap? Yeah, Minty. So basically what it means is he's gone to harvest. Let me just mute my button here, mute my sound here. Basically, the AMM bot goes and harvests the liquidity pools on version 2 Uniswap and of course a Sushi Swap. So the positive about that, let me just pull up that page here I think I've got it here somewhere. I think this is it. I think this is the link here. So we'll go check this out. So yeah, we've got the test run for the beta release of the AMM bot for rebalancing Uniswap version 1 and 2 and SushiSwap. So that's what we've got so far. We haven't got version 3 in there. He is talking about, obviously, there's a bit more technical hurdles around version 3. And of course, they may also look at layering in the AMM bot volume to reduce the profitability from arb traders. So that means arbitrage traders that try to get price differentials. And so that's something else that he might do as well. So the AMM bot basically is harvesting the tokens, and instead what it does is it mints. Instead, we had the total, all this amount of pulse at the sacrifice that got minted. And of course, on top of that, they're looking at minting a bit more. So I actually got that up here. Just let me get some good data out of this. Let me just pull this up. That one's the right one. Let me have a look. Pull this up here. Oh, I've pulled out the wrong spreadsheet. Let me do another spreadsheet. I've got so many spreadsheets, folks. It's spreadsheet galore. Spreadsheet galore on there. Jumping around to and fro. Cheers, everybody. Grab yourself a drink. Sit back and relax. Is this the right one? No, this is the wrong one too. Let me just scroll down and find the right one here. Get me out of there. Get out of there. And I want to get some good, decent numbers for this. I've got them in my head, but I just want to double check they're correct. It's been a while since I looked at these. I think this is the one here. So, all right. So, the AMM bot, which is the automatic market maker bot, basically tries to switch the ratio. Because Ethereum, there's only about 118 million Ethereum approximately. And of course, we've got a ratio of about 1 million to 1.2 million. That's kind of 1.2 million per Ethereum, 1.2 million pulse per Ethereum is the ratio. So we've got to fix that up. And so pretty much we have to do a 10,000 multiplication and division of each side of that pool. And so basically the pulse is actually buying the other tokens. So that's what they do when they set up the liquidity pools, and therefore they take a lot of the power out of the people on the Ethereum chain when they set up the liquidity, and of course they get more pulse in return. And meanwhile, the AMM bot gets the other tokens. So it's pretty powerful from that point of view. And of course, the ratio is about 1.2 million to 1 versus Ethereum. So pulse versus Ethereum. Let me just pull this up on. Let me just pull this up. Yeah, so here's the number I'm wanting. Cool. All right, found it. See, there we are. A bit of patience. So we're probably looking at maybe the boxer fee, fixer fee, maybe around about 2.5%. There was talk of it being like 5-6%, but I think it's going to be on the lower end. So maybe a couple of trillion pulse that will to be minted in total. So that's what we're expecting. We're also expecting 1% for the pulse team that hasn't been minted either yet in this Pulsechain testnet. So just the sacrifice balances. So the sacrifice balances were going to be about 12.5 trillion PLS. So that's probably the number. And then, of course, we've got the OA, which was expected, I think, to be about 114.5, somewhere in that ballpark. So we got total max, maybe 131 trillion. Of course, we had that up to about 135. Originally, I thought it might be 150 trillion, but it looks like it's been on the lower end there. So it's pretty good as well. So that's basically what it's doing, taking all that pulse, going to mint extra pulse above the sacrifice. So we've got the Origin wallet, the open market, the pulse team, 1%. And of course, above that, they mint maybe up to 2.5% more pulse, bringing us up to maybe around about 31 trillion, somewhere in that ballpark, plus or minus, to actually harvest the tokens from Ethereum, put them in the own pool. And of course, that means a lot of the power is taken out of the other liquidity provider. Instead, they get in exchange, they get a lot of pulse. So hopefully that explains that. Cool. I think they've answered that one. Can you explain what chart means buying? Yep, cool. All right, so version 3 hasn't happened yet. Version 3 is a bit more complicated. I actually think they need to take a philosophical approach to it, but we'll see what they do. They've got mathematicians there. But obviously, with version 2, you have to put tokens on both sides of the pool, an equal dollar amount. Whereas in Uniswap version 3, you can put tokens just on one side of the pool. You can put them in a certain part of the price curve. Whereas when you put them in a Uniswap version 2, they're even along the price curve. Hopefully I'm doing that right. The price curve, that's evened out. So yeah, it's a little bit different. You can also in version 3, which is not so relevant, you can also set different fee structures as well, 0.3 or 1%, that sort of thing. So it's a little bit more complicated. So we'll see what they do with that. Sachin says, was your PLSX balance displayed correctly on V2B? Mine was around 20%. Hopefully V3 will sort this out. Yeah, so I said I did my reconciliation 2 days ago when we did the first live stream. And of course, my Pulse came in. I'm in a pool, a syndicate, a small one. And of course, Pulse came in at 20% above the expectation. And the PulseX came in 1.5% above. So I'm not in a position where it's below my expectations. It's actually exceeding, but I know that many people have had that below. The other thing, of course, is that the Pulse lead site, so this site here, the Pulse lead site includes, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Matic, and AVAX, but it doesn't include Bitcoin Cash and stuff, which is an additional. I think it's probably another 50, 75 million on top of that, and of course that would be a couple of percentage points. So that's going to mean that the balances will be slightly lower on that, especially around the multiplier, the volume multiplier, because there's a couple of big Bitcoin players that probably have a big impact there. So you've got to take a few things into account like that. So yeah, cool. Hopefully I got around that one. DHEX says, woohoo! Hey, good to see you, DHEX. Kiwi accent, six sounds like sex. Lol. Yeah, that's right, Cal. It does. So when I say sex, it does sound like sex. That's right. So it's just the accent there. How I made it, stake PLX to get in the incentive swap and wait a minute, stake PLX to get incentive swap that for PLS. Absolutely, that's a good strategy. Keep building up PLS and stick it in the LL, the liquid loans positive feedback loop. That's fantastic. I made it. I like that strategy. Sachin says, I did buy the 10-cent mark, which you recommended a day ago. It happened, so thanks for that. Hey, Sachin, I that's fantastic. But once again, nothing on this channel is recommendation. It's just my opinions. Remember that I'm just a YouTuber. And of course, although I am an OG, I don't, I'm not, I don't have an almanac, and but I try to be as accurate as possible, given my experience in the market. So cool. That's fantastic, though, Sachin. Mr. Anam says, woohoo, how are you, buddy? Hey, good, Mr. Anam. Very, very good. Thank you. And such is my strategy once mainnet launch is, and Sachin's going to let us know. How I made it says everything passive income from PC and from Power City and from Internet Money, it gets swapped into PLS, goes into liquid lines. Hey, how I made it, I think that's a very, very strong strategy. So it's definitely something for others to consider. Those strategies that you're putting in, I think that's really, really good. Sachin says stake PLS gets PRT, the party token. That's going to be a third party token. Remember, Sachin, put a PLSX party as a liquidity pair, infinite passive income, and accumulate PLS with your job income. Of course, don't forget to buy some PHEX as well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Those third-party tokens will probably be limited time period, maybe a couple from weeks to a few months, possibly. So just take that into account. But yeah, you'd also have to hope that those tokens that are getting given to or dripped to stakers as were for PLX actually decent projects, right? So you'd also have to hope for that. Hopefully the DAO has some decent discretion in terms of being able to allocate that. Now, my only issue is around the Origin account, because it really does control the supply. Therefore, it would understandably control the DAO unless they do it on a one wallet per vote basis or something like that. So I'm still a bit uncertain about that myself. Let me know in the chat if you've heard anything about DAO voting. But at the moment, that's still a bit a question there for me. Sachin says, having a chill beer after work and watching Hex Token is my routine. Hey, Sachin, cheers on that. I've got a pretty standard coffee. It's not a fancy one, but it's doing the trick for the moment. D-Hex says, let's go, Hex. Absolutely. Hey, don't forget to get in the poll, folks, and get in there, folks. We've got 35 votes already, which is terrific. After Pulsechain mainnet launches, what coin token will you acquire the most? So get in there and fill it out. We'll check that out during the live stream. This is a pretty relaxed session, folks. So we're just going to have a lot of fun with once the Pulsechain launches. What sort of gamification, what sort of strategies will you do? What's your favorite coin? That sort of thing. In terms of when it launches, you have a good chance that you'll have some time to do some ratio trading before the official bridge opens, and potentially any third-party bridge, which could come out pretty quickly too. So nice on that. We've got DHEX says Let's go. Definitely moving higher is 11.18. Yeah, let's keep it on there for a while. So we're moving a bit higher there. I'll put it on the hourly chart there. I'll get rid of the RSI. And yeah, we're getting a nice little move on there, Hex there, which is pretty cool. Dingo Wolf says, moderator here to kick out the riff-raff, says Dingo Wolf. Love it, Dingo Wolf. Very, very cool as well. And what else we got going here? So Cal says, interesting talk last night on Hex late show regarding USDC liquidity being pulled right before the snapshot. Makes sense not to get a copy of USDC. That's true, Cal, and that's a good point. I was actually might have been listening to that. I'm not sure, but that's a good point as well. Sachin, you might see some changes in liquidity before mainnet of Pulsechain. That would be interesting. So we'll try and keep a close look at that as possible. That's for sure. Sachin says, did you see the PulseX buy and burn happening in real time on V2B? K4K shows in one of his latest videos. PulseX buy and burn. No, I didn't see that, Sachin. I'll try and check that out. Yeah, he's got K4K has direct access to the devs. I do not have direct access to the devs. So that's a problem. I have it not on Telegram at the moment, so I'm a bit limited at this stage. Hopefully, looks like we'll be our crazy government will be relaxing the the C laws, as you know. So hopefully that's going to happen on the 1st of April, and we might have a bit of freedom to go down to the store and get some stuff a bit easier. Brennan says, howdy, Superman. A pleasure, Brennan. Good to see you. And woohoo, Brennan. Oh, very cool. How I made it said, yes, saw that buy and burn action. Very nice. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. We were expecting that, of course, on PulseX to see some sort of button or something like that for a callable function with the buy and burn. At the moment, of course, we've got PulseX here. We're going to get into a bit of this. So at the moment, we've got 2.36 is the ratio. This was when I first put this on, the ratio was 1 to 2 on the PulseX. So is that a sign of things to come? Obviously, we know that a lot of people missed out on Pulse Sacrifice and went into PulseX hard just so they could get a good entry in for Pulse. So at the moment, we've got on this testnet Pulse 1 to 2.36 ratio there. That's pretty crazy stuff. And of course, if we actually go back in time, we've actually got, let's go to the week here. We can actually see that we started off at almost 1 to 1. And it's gone, look at that, 1.3, 1.4. It's definitely headed in Pulse's favor that it would take, you could get one Pulse could get you 2 PulseX. And now that's gone up during the live stream, it's gone up to 2.36. So it's only ever increased. Now, this is just a test net, but, this does kind of make you think this is, it's only going in one direction at this stage from the looks of it. So that does give you the idea there. So obviously people have got their sacrifice balances. People have got stuff from certain games that are linked up to PulseX version 2, Pulsechain Testnet. People have got the faucets and stuff like that. So there is a bit of a T-Pulse running around the place. But obviously at the moment, it seems that on the testnet at least, people are buying that Pulse for 2.36 to 1 ratio. Now, the other thing, of course, is that, the sacrifices were fairly similar. So it's going to be interesting whether people offset some volumes for the expectation of a pulse price outdoing it, over 2.3 to 1. So they have to beat the 2.3 to 1 on to make that happen, right? Because you're giving up 2.3 PulseX to get 1 Pulse. So you're expecting your return has to be on Pulse price has to be at least that much better than the price appreciation on PulseX. So pretty fascinating stuff there, folks. Very, very cool. Let's jump over to a couple of comments here. We've got Finn Bear says, hey, trendsetters. Hey, Finn Bear, good to see you. And the Dingle Wolf says, the force is strong with this one, PulseX. Yeah. I think fundamentally, financially, PulseX is a standout, right? It's a standout. So I really don't see, the numbers are in favor of PulseX from my point of view, like by a country mile. But of course, PulseX is not the chain. And of course, we know a lot of the market prices the chain based on Ethereum. Since it's the first system state copy of Ethereum, it's perception about the chain and everything going on the chain that is going to get valued up, particularly by more conservative players, the big, large whales that will be going for the chain. So even though the fundamentals of PulseX, financially speaking, with a 0.07% burn, in other words, $700,000 per $1 billion trade volume, is kind of ignored by a certain amount of whales, not the venture capitalist whales, not the Hex Gold whales, whales, but maybe more conservative hands after the Pulse, especially after Ethereum, massive Ethereum X returns. From 33 cents up to its high price. So was it 8,800? I think that was right. It's definitely interesting. Let me just double check. Forgotten what the price max was on this. Let's do all here. We got so we were up to 4,800. Sorry, 4,800. So some pretty crazy prices there. Don't know why I said 8,600, 4,800 on that. So pretty cool. All right, so we got that on the trade. Let's have a look at what else we got in here. I mean, it's just fun, really. We'll ignore the incentive one. We got the Hex. Hex got nearly nothing on. Got one there, 0.01. There's not much in the Hex, I don't think. I haven't actually looked at the liquidity pool on the Hex. One Hex is 614 Pulse, so there mustn't be much in there. I do know some people have played a few silly games early on at the beginning and kind of wreck some of the liquidity pools, like taking a lot of the tokens out of certain bags and stuff like that. So there's been a bit of silly carry on going on for sure. But that's got one Hex on here is 18.4 cents. That's pretty interesting, eh? 18.4 cents. That's pretty funny. One PLS equals 0.0016 Hex. That's pretty classic. Right, so let's flick that around and let's take that to 1. I don't know if we've got, let's look on, we've got, it's got one pulse here at the moment, one pulse here at 0.000298 cents. So that would be pretty, that's like, what's that, a double, almost a triple, a 3x there on the price of Pulse. Woohoo! We're already up 3x, folks. That's pretty nice on the Pulse there. Let me have a look on this one. So we had, I think we had based on the data up to a certain point, we had a price, we had the whales sitting at 4,059. We had the mean price at around 10,000. So this is sitting at 30,000 at the moment. So it's sitting at 30,000 on the price USDC. So pretty impressive. That's about a 3x. Not on the max. It's probably a 2x on the max, but a 3x on the mean there for the sacrifice, at least up to the beginning, at least for the first 19 days of the PulseX. The Pulsechain sacrifice. So some interesting stuff there. It's all fictional, but interesting nevertheless. Zach says, when Bridge is live, what do you think about LP, EHEX, and Hex? I think that'd be pretty good. The price would probably move pretty similar, Zach, together. So your impermanent loss should be pretty safe, I would have thought. You'll probably do pretty well on that, I would imagine, especially with the Hex being free. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good combo. Once again, liquidity, our LP provision in the farms there. So we're talking about providing liquidity here for this one here. So once the EHEX is over doing that, so you got Hex on Pulsechain and EHEX in here, that kind of thing. But I think that would be pretty good for the farms, and then take the LP tokens. Now we've only got a couple of pools here at the moment. But of course, we're going to have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of pools. So just remember that it's going to be heaps of them in here too. That's going to be so massive. This is going to be so big. So cool. How I Made It says, avoiding tax is key here. The government is corrupt. Yes, that's true. Bitfinex says, great time. Sampling variation. Your content is excellent, says Bitfinex. I appreciate that. ETH 2.0 in June. Says the guy. Yeah, June, July, August, somewhere in that period is the full staking expected for that. Sachin says, dude, your taxes, yeah. Bro, get a loan, avoid taxes. That's true. Unless you want to pay 38% capital gains and dump your PLS. Hex says, I tried the PulseX site, swapped and staked, total kick-ass. Yeah, it's really awesome, eh? I'm not sure why it's taking so long to update there. Oh. I just updated and then I refreshed it. What a dorky dude. That kryptonite must be affecting me. Will the ratio trading being done via PulseX? Should do. I mean, it's going to be Uniswap, so yeah. Sachin says, I just made letting, yeah, because the AMM bot's going to set up all the pools. So there's going to be ideas that you haven't got the bridge open and get US dollars over there. So that's kind of the idea, except for the ERC20s. So we're just not sure what the value will be, right? So we know what the value of the Ethereum is ERC20s are. I just made letting you know there's a crap ton of ways to avoid. Okay, let's jump through that. Sample Hex, swap Hex to PLS, good rate on testnet, or farm LP and buy PLS with incentive. Game theory, yeah. I know some people talking to me about swapping. They're accumulating Hex right now at this current price level. They want to swap their Hex for PLS when at the beginning with the ratio. Now they already have, or many of them already have Pulse and PulseX already in the sacrifice, and they're actually buying Hex now to swap to PLS. So that's interesting play. I think that's going to be a popular play. I have a feeling, just based on everything I've seen so far, that people will be swapping Hex. This is Hex on Pulse before the bridge opens. PulseX and to get Pulse. That's the kind of feeling I have at the moment. So we'll see what the Pulse is and see how close that is. But it's kind of feeling I'm getting at the moment. But that's at the beginning. Once, of course, Pulse goes up, I think that will get some flow back in to those other tokens. That's kind of how I feel about that. Which one is your best suit, man? PLSX or PLS? Well, you know, like I say, financially, I think PLSX is the best because you've got, you know, $700,000 of buy and burn. And obviously, K4K's had a little, been given a little insight from the devs, from the sounds of it, into the buy and burn. So that's going to be apparently a callable function on the site. It's supposed to be popping up here soon. Obviously, K4K's probably got some snapshot of that or something, a little video of that happening. And of course, that is going to be a magic, right? That's awesome. So every $1 billion of trade volume going through PulseX, $700,000 buy volume every day. Obviously, if we get $2 billion through, that's $1.4 million of buy and burn every day. It's just mind-boggling. And of course, because you know the price of Pulse and the fee structure on Pulsechain is going to be relatively low to start off with. Obviously, we're expecting a pretty good ramp up in the Pulse price, but still, nevertheless, should be relatively low. And then, of course, PulseX is going to be, massive round of burn fees straight out of the gate. There'll be a lot of trade volume going through there, especially when the yield farmers come on, and then when the bridge opens up, all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty fascinating. Remember, it's that volume price is going to be in there. It's going to be pretty fascinating. For me, PulseX is better, but from the perception, as I said earlier, the big money, the conservative money, will be going for the chain. They'll be going for Pulsechain. And at the moment, of course, we've got a lot of people in PulseX Sacrifice that are still trying to go for the Pulsechain because of what Ethereum did. But the thing is, we've never seen a PulseX look like this. We've never seen this kind of pump mentals on a PulseX with the buy and burn. And of course, the deflationary tokens from the beginning just going down over time. So I think that's pretty spectacular. Plus, with these staking, third-party staking with party tokens equivalents, that's just a placeholder name, but all those projects are going to help as well. There's so many pump mentals for that for sure. I also think that liquid loans will, all, in a month after to 6 to 8 weeks after, will also help to pump that as well. So, like I say, I love both of them. It's very difficult. I can see why people are buying Pulse. I have a feeling that even though I think whole PulseX, I can see why people are going to go for Pulse. But yeah, my strategy is just to hold the sacrifice ones I've got and accumulate more volume of all of them. That's kind of my strategy. But that's a bit of a lame one, but it's basically just accumulate all Richard Hart tokens. That's for sure. But I probably get a lot of Pulse, a lot of PulseX, and then after that, I want to put a bit of that into Hex. I want to get more Hex on that side of things. So yeah, definitely those two P's first. Such things, what's your game plan after mainnet is live? Share with us, brother. So yeah, that's my game plan. That's my game plan, is just to hodl and pick up more volume. So I'll also have some dry powder. If I see, obviously with the incentive tokens, I'll be staking them, getting more volume, and of course trying to get more PLX, more PLS, and then of course if there's any dips in the price, which I think is going to be probably not too likely, is that like they'll be small because there's so much demand coming into the system. And hopefully, I would say that we're going to have a lot of diamond hands. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of little plebs that are going to sell out for their whatever X's come out the gate. But I actually feel that any dip's going to be quite short-lived. And I'm probably pretty similar to Crypto Crazy from Liquid Lines, the CEO there. From that point of view, I kind of feel like the dip's going to be much shallower than any other dips that we have, because we've got so much landing all at once. So it's going to be pretty awesome. All roads lead to Pulse and PHEX. Yeah, I agree with you there, DHEX. I think that's true. I think that, from the PulseX, a lot of the PulseX stuff, because I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. I think a lot of value from that is going to flow into Pulse and PHEX or Hex on Pulsechain. So I definitely think that's going to play out. Brennan says, we will be making enough money, pay the tax man to keep him happy and enjoy your life. No need to lock up by tax fraud, says Brennan. Yeah, that's true. How about it says, let the whales do all the LPing. The small fish has distress about impermanent loss. Just stake PLSX and you're good. I agree with that. How I made it. I think that's a very good strategy. If you've got much smaller bags, you haven't got experience with liquidity providing, then a suggestion is to go just for the staking, get more volume, let all the big whales push the price up, because there's going to be tons of them. A lot of whales not even in the game. There's a lot of whales that sacrifice. There's a lot of whales that have not sacrificed. When that bridge opens up, it's going to be insane. I keep saying it. Potentially up to millions of people coming in. Big whales. We talked about. Rich has already talked about a big exchange coming in, and of course, once the one goes, others are wanting to come on too. And they're going to have to buy off the market, right? So that's going to be pretty cool. Blair's in the house. Hexonite. It's no Hexonite, but it is very, very cool. Zach says, so with the example, EHEX to Hex, 20,000 each side. Say if Hex moons, do you lose your 20,000 EHEX? And are they just left with the rewards? So if Hex on Pulsechain moons, that means there's less Hex on Pulse in there, right? So basically that starts filling up with more EHEX in the pool, and it just left with the rewards and the 20,000 Hex. Yeah, no, it's you're not going to drain the whole pool, unless everyone pulled their liquidity provision. But you've got the AMM bot running, so I don't see how that's going to happen. Testnet still indexing. Yeah, the testnet is still indexing. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up on there. This is testnet 2B. That is a 10% still, so it's only up like 1% from yesterday. It does seem to be taking a very long time. We've got 9.2 second blocks, which is kind of weird too. And on the validators, now there's a little bit of a backstory to the validators. We've got 101 entries on here because apparently so many people had 500,000 Pulse, obviously with the sacrifice. They've been mucking around registering themselves as validators just by putting that in. Apparently the dev had to, this is coming from David Feder. He said the devs had to, because they were mucking around, the system felt slow down, sort of came to a stop yesterday, and the dev had to set up a whole ton of cloud servers, validators to get the system back up running, and had to spin them up. So that was pretty dramatic. So they've learned a lot of lessons through these test nets, man, and of course ramping them up. So it's pretty interesting. They've learned a lot of lessons about how to operate this before we get to mainnet. We want them to learn them during the test net. It's pretty funny, fundamental, right? There's a lot riding on this. Obviously, what are we at? About 1.9 billion sacrifice between Pulse and PulseX is a big deal. And of course, Richard obviously wants it to be pretty smooth as well. So I'm sure there was a few little bit of chaos in there trying to organize themselves. But this is really cool. On Pulsechain Testnet 2, we got to find a lot of those little bugs and stuff, like with people that were down and stuff like this. And this Pulsechain Testnet 2B, we've been able to find the fact that on the testnet, people can, if they can easily register and stuff like that, then you've got to have quality validators up and running. So that's why we've got 101 entries here, folks. On top of the servers that the validators that they set up for the team, they also had other quality validators come into the play. So I think we're going to have a plenty of good quality validators supporting Pulsechain, and including many of our popular ones like David Feder, Staker App, Magic Cup Ride, and others will be there. So you can go and stake your PLS if you've got enough to stake with them and earn PLS through the validators. Obviously, there's going to be other alternatives like liquid lines, but I think that's pretty good. Yeah, good question there, that guy. Very, very cool. That wasn't really related to your question about indexing, but, you get my point. Ahmed's in the house, says, hello, I made a mistake to add the fake contract on my MetaMask, then I corrected and hid the fake one. Do you think it will be be my wallet? Yeah. So apparently the fake PLX was from the same creator. So the team, from the looks of it, it may have just very well been like a draft run with their sacrifice, but once again, just hide it in your wallet, and that you should be fine. Just import the correct one, which is what 9942 at the end, I think is the correct one at the end. Let's go into Richard's tweet. Let's go scroll right down. I think we've got that just for clarity. I think we're way down here, aren't we? Yeah, so this one here, 9942, that's the correct one. As long as you've imported that, you can just add that into MetaMask. That's got the correct PLS address for the sacrifice numbers there too. Gen Hex says, let me just go back to the PulseX there. Let's go back to the trade there. Let's go to the tokens and let's go to the trade. Let's go trade exchange. Let's do the one. So we've got one at the moment. So this was 2 for 1. I was back at 2 for 1. It was back up at 2.4, and now it's back at 2 to 1 on the PulseX. That's pretty hilarious. Don't get a copy of your liquid Hex on Pulse anyway. You do. You do. So if you've got Hex on Ethereum, you will get a copy on Pulsechain. You can just bridge over your eHex over and make that, put that in a liquidity pool and earn or incentives. Take your LP tokens from that and earn more. Is likely to be the case. Zach says, or just swap liquid eHex for Hex. You can do that too. It's definitely in the game. How I Made It says Wales will be shifting their funds from AVAX, BNB, ETH, Matic, eGold to take advantage of the early high APRs. Absolutely. And this is the point I've been making as well. That's why I said that we're going to see so many liquidity providers, not just the whale ones, but large yield farmers come in. They're going to come in not just from Ethereum, but chains all over the place, all the other chains where there's a lot of popular yield farming. They'll be coming on to yield farming. That's why I said we could see hundreds of thousands of them coming in when that bridge opens up. So it's this is going to be extraordinary. I think it's going to be really, really, really fun. But of course, we've got a role to play. As I say, we've got to spread the word. And if you're in other communities, just talk about Pulsechain, the airdrop. Just subtly put that in without getting yourself banned. I think that's very, very good. Just get out there amongst all the communities, and no matter what they are, because they're all getting copied over from Ethereum, the Pulsechain. But I think that we're out in all these different crypto groups, so spread the word as practically as you can. As actually, so theoretically, there will be a bugger all and permanent loss on Hex due to Hart's law. I think so, Zach. I think that's probably one of the better pairs for that. But once again, not investment advice. But with that particular pairing, I think that could be the case. Hex PLS would be the safest LP, far as losing anything, probably most profitable LP. I agree with that too. I think that's a really good call there, How I Made It. Because you wouldn't mind losing more of one and gaining the other. That's true. That's true. I agree with that too. The incentive token would mitigate the loss of any as well. Yeah, good point. So nice one. So how I Made It. Very good comments today. Very, very nice. All right, cool. Hey, let's. This is what the ratio is at the moment, 2 to 1. And hey, that's is that what it's going to be? It's Testnet. It's just muck around. It's just pretend. But is this what it's going to be? I actually think that it could really balloon much higher than this. But we'll see. We'll see what happens on the day. If the ratio is going like this, you'll be better at botting. I will be trying to pick up a lot of PLX if the ratio goes really high. I'll be myself be trying to do that. I'm just going to have to think about that as the play. So if you've got other tokens in there, you might be able to bridge those. Airdrop those through, and might be able to pick up PLX. So if you've got anything that's not Richard Hart tokens, you might be able to be in position to switch in and pick up some of these RH tokens, because they're going to ride up massive. It's going to be a pretty interesting opportunity there for sure. All right, cool. Let's have a look at, we're going to come back to here, but let's have a look at this little feed here. So this is a feed by Crypto Keith. This is at Murder Source on Twitter. So I'll paste this just in case you want to check out some of the commentary. And we've got Pulsechain in the house there. Just check out Pulsechain. Hey, good to see you, Pulsechain. Nice. And there we are. So this is the link. Check this out. This is the one I'm looking at. So controversial discussion experiment, pre-bridge ratio swapping between PLS, PLX, and PX. Great opportunity to get completely wrecked, fudge your Genesis RH airdrop, or strategy opportunity to leverage your bag and swap ratios with no USD value and no tax implications. So pretty interesting there. So this first one here has got PLX is a better coin. It's just the math. And that's what I argue too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But of course, I know that the crypto markets move in perception as well. So even if the maths is fantastic, perception about the fact that Pulsechain is the chain, just like Ethereum with the BXs, that the bigger, more conservative money will be going for Pulse as well. So that's what I keep saying. I'm going to try and accumulate as many as I can. But if I see that ratio flip dramatically in favor of Pulse and PulseX, I personally, it's my own thing, is I'm going to pick up as much PulseX as I can because I know the power of the math is going to play out. So let me know in the chat if any of these comments you want to make comment on. Let me know in the chat. But because this is what it's all about. It's me getting, us sharing ideas in the chat's the most important thing here. We're just having a lot of fun with the game theory here. So the title of the video, of course, is Pulsechain Gamification, buying strategies and favorite tokens, Hex, Pulse, PulseX, INC, and more, of course, whatever you're into. Hala Keith says, a lot of game theory to consider. Still working on my 2-day ratio trading, mainnet launch and post-mainnet launch strategy. First priority for me is don't get wrecked myself, and I think that's good advice. Do more research or something. Ask a lot of questions of the smart ones in Twitter Space, YouTube, how your plan's developing. Yeah, nice. Very cool. And the author goes just trying to read between the lines. Oops, let me just refresh that. I haven't got logged in here, as you guys know. Just trying to read the lines. Richard says there may be an opportunity to swap things based on ratios before the bridge is open. So yeah, interesting stuff there. So we got what else we got here? Personally, and from a noob, I have no PLS. So this I know quite a few people on this boat, right? That's why we know that the PulseX sacrifice was so high. A lot of people were trying to get Pulse via PulseX. So we know that there's going to be a big FOMO into Pulse from PulseX, despite the fact that the maths is pretty outstanding for PulseX, like mind-boggling. At the moment, of course, we're seeing this on the testnet, at least for the time being, a 2-to-1 ratio. And of course, we start off close to a 1-to-1 here back at the beginning of the testnet, and now obviously with a lot of people coming on, it's playing around with it. We've got a 2-to-1 here, which is kind of interesting. It's just a testnet, but it is kind of interesting to see that happen. So pretty interesting. Personally, from there, I have no PLS, so I'll be swapping some of my PLSX pre-bridge if the ratio is decent. I don't think PLS goes anywhere near sacrifice. PLS goes anywhere near sac price, and don't want to miss the train. That's just me. So I think there's a lot of people in this boat. And as I said, I talked to at least 1 or 2 people earlier. Today on this, and they were definitely looking at getting swapping some of their Hex in this case for Pulse, not PulseX, but Hex for Pulse. So interesting there. So we've got someone here, PulseX for Pulse. We've got some doing Hex for Pulse. So that's what I mean. It's kind of seems a lot like that's going to happen. Let's see how our poll's going. We've got 61 votes. Awesome, folks. Appreciate this voting. We've got after Pulsechain mainnet launches, what coin token will you acquire, swap, buy the most? So far, we've got 51% Pulse, so it kind of backs up this narrative. But we've got 26 PLX. That's probably me, although I want to pick up all of them, and I guess you guys do. The question is not whether I want to pick up all of them. It says, what do you want to acquire the most? So I'd be definitely, if people are going to swap all those tokens and change the ratio in favor of PulseX, I'll be picking up some PulseX myself. And I already have Pulse, so I'm kind of happy with that. So interesting games going, interesting strategies. Obviously, you can always get in the staking pool, earn more volume that way. But just on this ratio trading, that's kind of the talking that we're talking about at the moment, limiting to that rather than staking or liquidity pools per se. So interesting stuff there. Are there any other options that you may allow you to get better pricing action like HODL, what you have, and just a dollar cost average with new money from Pulse? That's the other thing, of course, a different topic. But if the price pulls back on any of these tokens, having some dry powder, particularly say after the bridge opens up, you could do that. Of course, if you've got stuff on Ethereum for the block height, that will get copied over into Pulsechain, so you'll be able to trade some of those, no doubt, through the ratios, and of course pick up some more. So it really is going to be pretty big FOMO, I think, for PulseX, and maybe even Hex for that matter as well. I know there's some big whales looking to pick up some Hex as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. The crypto, this one here says, personally, after seeing the APR, the annual percentage return from just staking PLSX, I'm a lot less worried about getting into PLS. It's absolutely nuts. The returns the testnet is showing. If the ratios are good, I may swap for a bit, but it will be a small amount of tops. What do you think? And yeah, my eyes are going to be glued on that PulseX DApp to see the system shows the ratios are. Got some dry powder ready and waiting to DCA into all three. That's me, right? That's what I said, right? So he's doing pretty similar, waiting to DCA, dollar cost average into all three. But I also want to have the system actually tell me what X to PLS is and X to PHEX, EHEX to PHEX to see if there's an opportunity. Interesting stuff there. So pretty cool. Let's go into the chat here to see what Brennan says. Brennan says, I have no dry powder left when Pulsechain launches. Yeah, after all these sacrifices and stuff like that, you're trying to get tokens on the Ethereum blockchain for the block height when you get copied. So yeah, it is a bit funny like that. Once again, definitely a good opportunity there. Septillionaire says, yes, I'm ready for PulseX staking and accumulate PLS as much as possible. I think so. I think it's a pretty good strategy too. And Generan says, will PLS and PLS and PHEX have any value pre-bridge? Will they have ratio value compared to each other? You probably could do an implied US dollar value, but it's probably not worth it at this stage. I would just say it's the ratio value is going to be the main thoughts, I think, for most people. If you missed out on Pulse but have PulseX and Hex, whilst the rest, the best way to get some PLS, or just wait and buy it after the bridge. Well, you could, but of course, if people are really trying to get those tokens, they will probably, I would suggest, suggestion, that they're going to hodl those tokens. They're going to hodl Pulse and PulseX. I think a lot of people think that this is so big in the X's. This is the last big play, probably in this crypto bull market for this round. And of course, the Pulse chain could play out for a long time to reach its domination as well. I particularly think it's going to happen quite fast. But of course, if it plays out even over a longer time frame into 2023, then people are going to be hodling. I think people with their wisdom, people that have been in the game, not just plebs going for the quick X's, will be hodling that a lot. And we know there's a lot of hex skins that have sacrificed. They've got a more longer term mindset. We've got a lot of big whales, venture capitalists and stuff like that have a longer term mindset. But there's always short term game, always short term players in there. That's where the dips come in, right? Is where those short-term players are willing to sell down. That's when we get the dips. That's when you're going to have your dry powder for when that happens. But I think the pullbacks are not going to be as severe as we normally see in most cryptos because we've got the whole thing, the first system state copy of Ethereum landing all at once with all the goodness in it. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And the deflationary tokenomics too. Gentleman says if you missed out on Pulse but have PLSX and Hex. So yeah, I think as I said, people are going to be buying Pulse with PLSX and Hex, but of course, if you've got other tokens, you can switch those in too. DCA, dollar cost average with first Fiat, yeah, definitely. That's the other thing. Of course, I would just be accumulating over the first couple of months, right? You just accumulate while the price is at its lowest, arguably, even and then have someone wait for some dips, pick up some more. This is after the bridge opens up. I'm talking about. After the bridge opens up, watch for those dips, pull it, accumulate, because there's going to be a lot of people accumulating these. I just have a feeling about that. We've had pretty positive conversation about that, and I might do a poll on the community tab about whether you're going to hodl these tokens or you're going to trade them out. I'll do that, set that up after the live stream. I think it's a good question. D-Hexkin says, just DCA into everything, bro. PHEX and PLS, and use the single side staking to recompound everything. Absolutely, D-Hexkin, I agree with that. Genuine says, what will PHEX be worth per bridge, i.e. when it's airdropped? Well, it starts from zero, but it just gets priced up very fast. So we'll find out. Excuse me. The only way to argue a theoretical price is just to do a stock split. So if Hex is 12 cents, 6 cents each on each side, that's kind of the basic way of, from a US dollar point of view. But then the market's going to decide, right? So the market's going to decide, it's going to say, I want this one over this one. And it's going to then say, I'm going to give you the one I don't want. And therefore, there's going to be more in the pool. And then, of course, I'm going to take the one I want. There's going to be less of those in the pool. And that's what we're seeing kind of here at the moment on this PLS, PLX, where there's a 2-to-1 ratio. So more people want the PLS and are willing to give up an extra PLX for that. So that's kind of the way that's looking, just on the ratio side at the moment. So cool. Let's go to the actual farm there. Let me have a look at the liquidity. Let's go to liquidity. Let's go to the info, actually. Let's go to info. We're going to go down to the pools. We've got the pool here. So we've got the PLS, PLX pool. And we've got, well, just got argument's sake, it's got 26 million liquidity in it, apparently, at the time. Volume 188 million. This is just based on the prices on here, of course, all fictional, but that's interesting. What else? We got PLSX there. It's got $1 million there. PLS USDC for $5 million. That's what it says. That's pretty crazy stuff. We've got the high APR reward for the LPs, 81.49 on the PLSX PLS. What else we got there? PLS Hex, POT. What else got? Hex PLS. It's going to be pretty popular. So it's interesting to see just these pools. I'm trying not to take too much from this because it's just a test net, but it's interesting to see the rankings of these at the moment. I don't expect to see this one won't be there because this will be third-party one, so I'm not expecting to see that one there. But this one here, that one there is pretty logical. That's pretty logical. That's pretty logical there. And PLSX USD, pretty logical. Hex USD. Yeah, we might actually see a bit of surprise on the Hex USD when it actually goes live. And then we've got PLSX Hedron here. That's pretty interesting as well. So pretty funny there. What's that? Page 1, page 2, Hedron PLS. What else we got here? PLS USD. What else? PLS DAI. I'd like to see a lot more DAI. I think DAI is pretty good. I'd like to see that. What else we got? PLS Shiba here. PLS Shiba. Yeah, that's probably going to be a pretty popular pair. Hedron USD. And what else we got here? PLS Wise token. I'm not surprised about the Wise. So with Wise token, obviously that is that's a certificate of deposit on the blockchain too. And of course that has got locked liquidity. So that liquidity is I think it's still ranking number 1. I think on Ethereum. And of course that's all coming over. That's all locked. That liquidity is locked, so it can't be pulled. So the Wise token is a significant one from the locked liquidity point of view. So that's pretty fascinating. That will be a pretty big volume. So you'll see the liquidity on that is only showing 25,000, but you could probably see quite decent liquidity on the Wise, particularly the Wise ETH pair is what you're going to see, a massive Wise ETH pair on liquidity because it's the number 1 on the Ethereum at the moment. So it's going to be interesting. The PLS Wise will be massive. Here we are. We've got PLS Wise number 28. It's got 33,000. This is a fiction, right? I think this is actually going to be, I think this will be really quite large. Be interesting to see that though. And in essence, it's going to be interesting to see see how Wise gets priced up. It's going to be pretty fascinating since it's priced up so strongly on the ETH chain. So this is where the perception of value on the ETH chain, perception of value on Pulse chain is going to be pretty interesting to see this because this is the number 1. Wise ETH is the number 1 pool as typically on. Sometimes it switches over to the stable coins, but typically that is the number 1. So it's going to be pretty fascinating. So cool to see how that lines up. Cool. All right. So very cool. Let us jump back and let me just go back in time and we'll jump back to the pool here on the PLS. We'll leave it there for the time being. That's pretty neat. How Matt says, I don't think you're late getting PLS. It's like buying ETH first day. I agree. So that's what I mean. People are going to be jumping over each other to get these tokens, right? And that's why I said I don't think there's such a bad strategy. Whether you get, over time, get 2,000x versus 10,000x. Obviously, there's a big difference, but and you're getting 2,000x, like amazing, right? So if you don't get 10,000, still 2,000 is great. But you got to be. I think most people would just be clamoring over each other to just get as many of these tokens as they can. And I kind of exclude the Origin account for the moment. Hopefully, that's the right thinking. I just think about the public amount. And of course, if we have just an indication here of the public amount, this is just an indication that let's have a look here. Breakdown. For the public amounts, say Pulse is 12.5 trillion. People will be jumping over each other trying to get those tokens off other people. So if there's 12.5 trillion people jumping over to get billions of these things off other people, and of course that's just with the sacrifice of all the people that sacrificed at the moment. Imagine when I think it was 48,000, 44,000, something like that for the Pulse chain. Of course, that's a small amount, right? We had over 130,000. It was 140,000 wallets for PulseX. You can imagine the amount of people they're going to be after Pulse, right? It's insane. So now it kind of explains you You got people telling us they're going to go for Pulse. We've got the relatively limited supply, despite the fact there's trillions of tokens. It's kind of relatively limited, and of course, it is the chain compared to Ethereum. So I think we've got a pretty clear narrative that that's going to happen. So yeah, but it's early days getting these tokens, early days. So even if you hodl them, even if you pay extra price in the ratio, or even when the bridge opens, you're accumulating in the first week, month or two. This is going to be off to the races. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. DHexskins, did you guys see how with the single-sided staking, the PulseX, we will get third-party tokens? Lol. Yeah, we looked at that. So we expect to see quite a few of those under the pools here. So we just got the party tokens, kind of a placeholder. We expect to see many projects coming on here, airdropping, pretty much dripping tokens to PulseX holders or whatever other peers that are in here that you can stake. And of course, trying to cross-promote their project like you do see on PancakeSwap. AK's in the house. Say AK. Woohoo! PLX has insane fundamentals. Kind of rip faces. I agree. And like I say, if I see this ratio trades go strongly in favor, I'll be picking up a lot of PLX playing. Probably looking a bit further down the line when people realize how big the buy and burn is of PulseX. And of course, I want to get a lot of those tokens. It's kind of my strategy. And so it's a delayed gratification strategy, but I definitely think that's the case. Hex Down Under says, what price will PHEX and will T-share price the same? Yeah. So when they get copied over, they're theoretically the same at the starting point, and then once the whole chain runs, you can have two T-share rates and two prices, relatively speaking, on each chain. So we'll see how they all go. Hex payouts, they'll just slowly diverge. Won't happen just straight away, but they'll slowly diverge as you get unstaking behavior will be different. Good accounting behavior will be different. The growth of the new wallets will be different. Growth of T-shirts will be different. And the number of investors in there will be different. Retail adoption, I think, obviously with Pulsechain will be superior. So you're going to start getting different, slowly over time, different Hex payouts per T-share, different share rates, and different share prices. But hey, I think both of them are going to do pretty well out of the gate there. And of course, they're going to be tied in those liquidity pools together. So yeah, going to be pretty fascinating. Stan says, wow, I couldn't sleep. Didn't know you were on this time of day or night for me. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, it's now. This is a special live stream because I just wanted to hang out and talk about this ratio trading and the gamification, what people's views were. I'd love to hear what the community thinks about this because we're all trying to make educated guesses. We're all trying to get better insights into what's going to happen. But I just have a feeling that we are getting a few strong themes through that Pulse will be chased. I myself, if everyone's chasing Pulse, I kind of feel like I want to chase PulseX, and not just because of the financial amazing maths in it, but because if the ratio goes really in favor of PulseX, while people are buying Pulse with their Hex and their PulseX, I'll be buying PulseX, kind of way I feel I'll be going. I'm pretty happy with my Pulse bags. I will want to pick up more Pulse over time. But I just feel like if I can pick up a whole ton of PulseX bags with a really favorable ratio, then I'd be keen to do that. So I'm going to think about that in time. It's going to be interesting. All right, cool. Cool VIP, as we say. Cool VIP. It's now says, got that in the house there. And Generan says, I don't think I'm late. It's others I'm on boarding that have PLSX but no PLS. That's true. And that's the big thing. That's one of the key drivers. And of course, this is just Testnet that we're looking at the moment, but we're getting this double 2-to-1 ratio here, and it could be much higher. It could be 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1. I mean, it could get quite high. It'd be interesting to see, especially how much is in the pool to start with. It's going to be quite fascinating to see that play out. Brendan says Hex down 0 for PX, and T-shares stay the same. Yeah, that's true. Woohoo! Says Nilo. Hey, good to see you, Nilo, in the house. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, it's certainly a lot of fun, man. Pump our bags. Brendan Easlek says it won't stay that way for long. That's for sure. But yes, it will launch at 0. That is true. Yeah, that is true on the prices. Yep. Humongous says, yeah, if you stake it in the beginning, you get it copied already. Yeah. Like I say, you get your stuff in. You want to accumulate the volume. And, of course, you can do that by ratio trading. You can do that by before the bridge. You can do that by staking. And you just get more volume. That's what you want, more volume. And, of course, of PulseX, Hex is my view. And, of course, when the bridge opens, you can DCA in over the time, picking up any of those I think they're all going to be fantastic. All the Richard Hart coins can be fantastic. And there are different drivers, as I say. I think for PLX, it's the financials. For Pulse, it's the perception of the blockchain versus Ethereum. So I think that's going to be pretty bullish. And of course, Hex is the savings account. So I think it's like a win-win-win. And then, of course, a month after the bridge opens up, and maybe third-party bridges as well, cross-chain bridges, we've got liquid loans coming in. I think that's going to be a nice leverage play on that too, especially if you're holding loan tokens already and you're able to put them in to offset the fees that you get in there, which is typically about 0.5%. Then it could be extremely lucrative to do that. Maybe ratio trading in the first days or hours, it could be a fraction higher in value at launch. That's true. But you're going to have a win-loss, right? So if you're going to trade PulseX or Hex for Pulse, then you're going to have a trade-off win. I definitely think maybe a Pulse play would be far more probable of a win. A PulseX, a PLX play may not be in the short run. It's going to be interesting to see that. I think that's probably be the case. I think a Hex Pulse play may be better. Let me know what you think in the chat about that. I think I'm sick that day. Haha, skip work to get in on day one. Yeah, I think it's probably financially worth it, but try not to get yourself wrecked with these ratios because otherwise, you're always trying to say, okay, I'm going to swap this much PulseX for Pulse. Maybe it's different. If you're starting from a position where you've got Pulse and PulseX already because you've sacrificed both, it's different from the fact that if you only got into PulseX, you want to get some Pulse. I can understand people trading from that point of view. But when people trade that, they're willing to give it their PulseX, it means that other people can go in and get those ratios in their favor for PulseX. So, it's a bit of a interesting play there. And, of course, what happens to the price after that, no one really knows. Once again, we've only got those kind of theme fundamentals about the financials of the buy and burn for PulseX and, of course, the perception about Pulse being the main chain and like Ethereum. So it's going to be interesting to see that play. Brennan says, I mean that when the market finds value. Hex says, I built a site for the community. Can I share it here? I don't know about that one. Let's have a look here. Maybe not today, Hex exec, but you can DM me at Token Hex on Twitter. DM me on Token Hex on Twitter, or you can leave a comment about the site and that. So I do as a content creator, I do have to be a bit careful with the sites that I allow on here. You can appreciate that, I'm sure, if you're in the same situation. So once again, Token Hex on Twitter. You can DM me there or just leave a comment after the live show on that one. Only a wrench can post links, says it's down now. Yeah, that's right. I'll second that. Yeah. Could you see a Hex reward for a PLSX liquidity? No, I couldn't see that, Peter. Only if the Origin wallet wants to give up some of its Hex, maybe that might happen. Okay, says Hex. That's all right. Cool. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Didn't mean you couldn't share? Just your link won't work without a little ingenuity. Yeah. Septillionaire says, and Shiba and Link price discovery. Yeah, that's going to be fun too. I think we've already got a lot of interest from the Shiba community, right? And so I think that there's going to be good price discovery on Shiba for sure. We just got to keep promoting all those different tokens. Are we going to get a copy of our sacrifices in eHex and PHEX from liquid loans to PulseX, or all of those copied too? Are we going to get a copy of our sacrifices in eHex and PHEX from liquid loans to PulseX sacrifice? You're going to get copy. You're going to get sacrifices. You're going to get liquid loans to PulseX sacrifices. It's kind of a mixture of questions there, but you're going to get from your sacrifices for you're going to get your liquid loans tokens depending on how long you delayed them. Yeah, that's all I'm going to answer there. I think your PulseX sacrifices, you're going to get those. They'll be there immediately on the launch of mainnet. So you'll have your PulseX sacrifices already in your wallet on the blockchain for your wallet address. So you can import the contract for that. Obviously, people have done it for version 2B here. So hopefully that answers your question. I think you got like 2 questions in there. Cool. Brendan says the devs were playing smart wordplay with the PRT token because it's a third-party DOM chain. Yeah, they were. So if I have ETH and Hex in my MetaMask, I will have a copy on the Pulse account. You will have a copy on Pulse account of those. So it's a free airdrop, the biggest airdrop in crypto there, D Delhi. Does it mean if I sell ETH or Hex on the ETH network, I will still have it on Pulse chain? Only if you do it after the Pulse chain launches, after the block height launches, after the block height. So presumably it's going to be either a couple of days before or probably a couple of days before is my guess on that. We don't know the block height yet for that. How I made it says RH Sackers are basically VCs buying ETH pre-ICO. Yeah, they are. That is true. That is true. So that's what's happening there. Gotcha, says Hex. You're welcome. Okay, it's pretty nice. How I made it says if you sell ETH and Hex before the fork, you get a copy on Pulse. Yeah, that's right. Nice work on the live chat. Lots of questions answered with good detail. Keep it the good work. Hex down under. I appreciate that. Big shout out. Oh wait, I just shared it though. Did you? I don't see anything there. Okay, well, I will. Oh, well, good. I think I'm just catching up here. Last two comments at the moment. Everyone will do well if they got in via the sacrifice phases, just compound and DCA, dirty fiat. Yeah, 100%. Let's accumulate. And of course, if you guys are in the box seat holding all the bags, when that bridge opens, man, it's going to be insane. Everyone's going to want your PLS. They're going to want your PLX. They're going to want your Hex or whatever else they're in. They're going to want that for sure. But particularly, I think unique to Pulse chain, of course, is the PHEX and the Pulse. And of course, there is going to be the incentive token as well. So it's going to be interesting there. Now, we haven't seen much about the XPLX. So we'll see whether stuff comes out around that. It's going to be interesting. It's now says 67 people watching, only 37 likes. Hit the likes, people. Show some appreciation. Yeah, do smash that like. Hulk smash that like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Of course, we're just doing non-stop content about Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX, and much, much more. We're not going to be stopping on this channel. And of course, just get in there and show the support for sure. Dave says, sorry, I meant with the Pulse Chain tokens that were sacrificed show up on MetaMask on the ERC20 side too. Pulse Chain tokens that were sacrificed show up on a MetaMask in the ERC20 side too. No. So when you sacrifice for Pulse Chain, you are sacrificing ERC20s and you will not see them again. They go to the sacrifice address. You have to know expectations from that. In return, you will get a magical airdrop of a PLS or PLSX, depending on, in this case, Pulse Chain PLS, or if you did PulseX PLSX on the chain. So that's what you're going to see on Pulse Chain when it goes live. But you have given up your ERC20s to the sacrifice address. You do not get those back. Hopefully that is answering what you're asking there. This launch is going to be like a 4D movie. Hold on to your seats. Absolutely. Hold on to your tokens, folks. That's the key. Thumbs up from HexX. Benjamin G says, what stables will be on Pulse Chain? We're expecting all of them to get copied over, but whether they get supported and how they get priced up are two different things. So obviously the centralized ones, USDC, USD Tether, whether they get supported by the custodials, the decentralized ones like DAI, whether they get support, they should get a lot better. I think they'll perform a lot better. So yeah, we don't know. We're going to see whether they get priced up. I suspect they will do. Of course, people call that fractionally reserved. When that could be zero fractionally reserved. In other words, there's no real one real dollar supporting that, particularly the USDC and the USD Tether, and of course supporting behind that. So we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that the market is pretty good at pricing up stables as they should be perceived. So I'm actually fairly optimistic. But once again, the key to behind that will be when the bridge opens up and we get the actual ones that the market does price up around about $1. Those USDC, USD Tether from the ETH chain, the ERC20s bridged over to give us some US dollar prices. And I think that will in turn impact. So that's the way I understand it. So hopefully that helps. Pave Dave says, got it. Thanks. Exciting your demand. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Brennan says that no, only on the Pulse Chain network. Pave Dave. Yes, only on the Pulse Chain network. Peter Furlong says, when Pulse Chain goes live, will there be a way to send my fiat euro straight to Pulse Chain to trade, or will I still need to send it through my MetaMask and then trade into Pulse Chain? Okay, so there is going to be a bridge, but we just don't know when it's going to open. and that will probably have some credit card access. So yeah, there's definitely going to be some opportunities there. So when Pulsechain goes live, will there be a way to send my fiat straight to Pulsechain to trade? Now, we just don't know how soon that's going to be there. That's the only thing I would say to that, Peter. But they will be able to, obviously, when the bridge opens up, bring it through via Ethereum. But there will be a bridge directly, a fiat gateway, I should say, directly into Pulsechain. That will save you having to go through, 7 or 8 steps through Ethereum, back and forth out through there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Or will I still need to go through my MetaMask and then trade into Pulsechain? Well, you can still do that too. So that's always going to be an option. But there is expected to be a gateway, fiat gateway directly for Pulsechain. AK says, I think PLSX is scrapped. That will just be the pools. I think so too, AK. I was thinking about that before the live stream, that the XPLX staking will be scrapped, and the fact that because now they have the buy and burn callable function that they've made through a smart contract, that apparently K4K has got an insider video on that. So definitely go check that out on that one. I will try and get a copy of that, and we might play that tomorrow as well, because he is talking to the devs directly. Will just be in the pools. Yeah, I think so too, the AK. Sophia, why not? You're on late today. Yeah, we're doing a special live stream, having a bit of fun here on Pulsechain Gamification, buying strategies and favorite tokens. So it's just a bit of a community hangout, talking about what's possible there, what people's strategies are, stuff like that. We have a cool poll up to 91 votes. Let's see if we can get up to 100 votes. If you haven't voted, just get in there and vote. We're at 91. After Pulsechain mainnet launch, what coins, tokens will you acquire the most? Of course, the most. If you want to acquire all of them, go for gold. But of course, we've got Hex, PulseX, and INC or incentive token or other tokens. We've got PLS 52% at the moment. So we'll see how we get on by the end of the live stream. Cool. Pablo says, hey, Superman, sorry if you've mentioned already, I've just joined the stream. If you stake a liquid pair, is it permanent or can you unstake, and what are the risks? Yes, you can unstake, Pablo. The risks are that from the start, from the time that you put those in the pool, that the ratio changes and the price, when the bridge opens up, there'll be a US dollar price, the US dollar price changes. So you could face some US dollar risk in relative to the volume as well. So there's a volume risk and a price risk. And of course, those can move around. So just take that into account. That's where we get impermanent losses into the play. Now, a really good place. Now, I don't know if it's going to be enabled. I suspect so. Let me just pull this up on this channel. I don't think I've got it on that one there. Let me just say here. So if you are not familiar with how that works, there is a really good site, APY Vision. So they do a pretty good job of assessing the profitability of your position. They are multi-chain. So it's app.apy.vision. They have their own token, of course, opens up extra features, but you can actually basically get on there with next to nothing. And of course, you can just paste your address in there, and they can track your impermanent loss or impermanent gain. So it's not just about loss; you can actually gain, depending if things go in your favor as well. And of course, they track that. They do multi-chain. I'm just trying to think how many chains. Yeah, they've got Avalanche, Ethereum, Phantom, Polygon, Arbitrum, Harmony, many other AMMs on there. No doubt they'll have Pulsechain up and running pretty fast because of how big it is. So apy.vision, it's app.apy.vision. And definitely, if you're going to do that, I would suggest keep a lookout for that, because that way it will look to track that. So I'm pretty confident they'll get Pulsechain on. If they haven't, of course, you can get into Twitter there and get them to get Pulsechain up and running as soon as possible. Because they're doing Ethereum and so many second layer chains, it should be pretty fast for them as well. So cool, nice one there. So that's app.apy.vision. They track your yield farming, and of course the pool, your profitability and impermanent losses on there. That's pretty neat, actually, to be honest. I think I've got some Vision tokens. That gives me a few extra features. There are different ranks. You know how many Vision tokens you got in your wallet. Just read your wallet and says, okay, we'll open up this next level. They've got a pro version as well. But yeah, if you're going to do yield farming, it's definitely a good one to have. Cool. Let me know in the chat if any of you guys are using apy.vision for yield farming to monitoring your profitability. Cool. What are the off-ramp options? Well, Richard's talked about the fact that they've got a credit card Fiat Gateway, I do believe there's going to be probably at least 2 solutions on that. Richard's talked about having a credit card one. He said it was pretty advanced, so I imagine that's probably in the play. He's running obviously a few teams now for that, so cool, including now obviously the MetaMask wallet devs that they've been going through. MetaMask wallet devs, I think they're down to 2 devs that they like, that Richard likes, and so that looks like it's going to be in play too. Which one does have the better yield pool or farm? So well, we're going to have to wait and find out on that one. So we'll just have to wait and see. It is a supply and demand. The higher the yield is, depending on the assets, is a risk return trade-off. We'll find out for sure. Sachin says, do you think we will have a Fiat ramp on PulseX? On Pulsechain, yeah, I think we'll have one on Pulsechain coming in. Richard's talked about that already, said that it's pretty much done. So I just don't know the time frame. I haven't heard him talk about it for a little while, but at the time he said it was pretty much done. And so, yeah, let's see whether he brings it out as a surprise. So that could be a nice surprise that he brings. Peter Fairlong says, thank you. You're welcome. Brent says, back through ETH to start with Benjamin. And Sachin says, should have added all the above options on the poll, to be honest. It only allows 4 options there, Sachin. Only allows 4 options in the poll, unfortunately. It's not that clever. When I put a poll on the community tab, it gives me 5 options, I think. So it's a much better on the community tab. I'll add that question again, and I'll have ERC, and I'll have other on there. Brennan says possibly on-ramp and off-ramp in the future if Richard decides to go with one. No, my understanding was Richard actually had a Fiat on-ramp that had actually been pretty much completed. So I just think that maybe that's something he'll bring on to the market. I will go back through those comments, but that was my impression at the time, that he had a Fiat on-ramp with a credit card option on that. So I'll try and follow that up again. What's up, Hexkin says, Tintop. Hey, Tintop, good to see you. And we got the emojis in the house represent. Woohoo! And let's actually see how we're going with that. Let me actually pull up app.vision while we're here. People are talking about yield farming a little bit. So let me just, I'm not going to go into this in a deep way, but we'll pull this up. Let me just type properly first. That'll probably help. Vision. It happens when you don't type properly. And you get properly, you get rejected there. So this is the APY vision for yield farm tracking. So you can see all integrated. It's integrated with major AMMs and chains. This takes all the hard work out. It kind of monitors your position. So it tells you when you start what your profitability is. Breaks it down really well. So they've got Ethereum, Polygon, all these in here. I imagine they're going to be able to get Pulsechain up pretty quickly. I would definitely hit them up on Twitter and ask them whether they're going to do it. I haven't done it, but you can see they've got dashboards, bridges, and stuff like that. So I'll post that in the link there, copy as well. Boom. Cool. All right. So you can find pools in here, top performing pools, explore pools. So that's cool. You can, it's got all chains here, but you can just select like Ethereum. You got all the different AMNs here, Sushi Swap. So you can do that. Uniswap, of course. You go to Uniswap and check those out. They got some bridges in here as well. What else? They got pro plans, status, stuff like that. Oh, that's going off somewhere else. But they got all the stuff in here. And then when it actually breaks down, it's really neat. Let me just dark mode that. So dark mode's pretty cool. It's almost Pulsechain colors. It's almost Pulsechain colors. So that's pretty cool. So you got the dashboard here. You can connect your wallet, or you can log in as a pro. Load an example. So here's an example. So you've got a demo wallet here, and you've got the total market value, net gains, liquidity pool gains, your pending farming rewards, vault gains, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. You got this one here saying you got 5 pools, just an example. Liquidity pool gains, net market gains, total market value. So it gives you that bottom line very quickly. I think it's pretty neat. You got the underlying tokens. You got the this is an ETH here. This is USDC Link ETH balance Aave. That's pretty cool. You can view the details. It's going to give you that. So it's got initial capital provided. It's got gains from liquidity pool. It's got total gains, current market value. Pretty nice. And it's got a breakdown here, of course, as well. So it's nice on that. Let's have a look on this one. It's got here the permanent loss. See, so it's got liquidity pool gains, the net market gains from the pricing, and then of course the employment loss and the gas fees. It's got the amount of LP tokens that you get when you put liquidity in a pool. It's got the LP token share price, typically representing when you got in there as well. So, or current price. So it's pretty cool. And what else it's got? Yeah, cool stuff there. So it's got all the pairs here as well. So if you had this is just an example though, but it gives you some cool stuff. Add liquidity 11 days ago. It shows you what your received tokens were, your cost and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. Obviously, there's a lot of detail in there, but you sort of see there's all the breakdowns showing you're in profit for these ones. This one here is saying that you've got some net market losses, but this one here is saying you've got liquidity pool gains and market losses there to do with the prices. So the volume price, there's a volume price metric there. Cool. All right, cool. Hope you guys like that one. That was kind of, I never thought I was going to talk about that, but that's cool. We're still sitting at 1-to-2 ratio on the PLS, so nice. Fat Sammy Slices in the house. Hi all, good to see you. And it's Nano says, top one, can't sleep. Benjamin G says, credit card option. Wow, that's a new to me. It's Nano says, I don't think it will take very long for off-ramp, on-ramps to develop very quickly. I think that's a really good point. I think there's a lot of third-party bridges and fiat gateways that will likely come on. Maybe not a lot of fiat gateways, but a couple. But definitely a lot of bridges. I think a lot of cross-chain bridges will come into play very quickly. And you can see the ecosystem of Pulsechain will really start ramping up. People want to get on that chain and want to get access to value. They want to set up businesses on Pulsechain. They want to get, make profits on there. The entrepreneurial spirit's going to, explode out of the gate. Because they're building on top of the biggest airdrop in crypto history, the biggest yield flow in crypto history, and the biggest, fastest way to mass adoption. Everyone wants to get onto the action, man. And of course, the public supply is pretty limited, and so people want to get access to your PLS. They want your PLX, as well. So there's going to be a lot of third-party applications trying to get those tokens. That's why I said to you, be very careful. Be careful what you get into. My basic strategy is a safe one. Just to stake it, accumulate more volume, ride up the chain. Avoid putting any, maybe apart from liquid lines once it's up and running and it's proven that the contract is working properly, that once it's operational risk is down, I think that's probably one of the few ones I would be looking to, possibly stake with. You want to be very careful, protect your tokens at all costs because they are scarce. Even though there's trillions out there, they're actually scarce relative to the amount of people that are going to come onto the chain. You got to remember that. That's the main thing to remember, that the sacrifice set of people, the Genesis holders, are actually relatively scarce to compared to what is happening here. So what is happening is here there are millions of users on Ethereum. We're holding wallets that are going to get airdropped onto Pulsechain that are not part of the sacrifice. When they find out about the airdrops, they're going to come over. They're going to realize how amazing Pulse and PulseX is. They're going to want those tokens. So that's what I mean. You really need to just to keep that in the back of your mind as we move forward, that these tokens, even though there's trillions, they're relatively scarce. And once a lot of people come in, you can divide the average amount of Pulse and PulseX per person starts to really come down, right? Once you get a bigger number of people, you go from 100,000 to 2 million. You got 20 times more people wanting the same fixed amount of tokens. You know what I mean? It gets pretty wild pretty quickly. So very cool. All right. AK says PLX will most likely be at 0.01 post bridge. Historically, tokens launch at 10x. A 10x from that price is 100x for day one. SAC holders, something to think about. RR 8000 is definitely in play in 2 years. I agree with you there. So RR means Rack and Rochelle, the big whale there. So we're talking about Rack and Rochelle here, our big whale in the house. He's actually a huge venture capitalist. His aim is to be one of the very biggest in the world. And of course, Pulsechain is his way of doing that. That's what's pretty clear to me. I don't know what other stuff Overwatch is in there and other stuff, but definitely he's talking about that. He was on an audio apparently. I heard this third party. I haven't heard the audio directly myself, but talking about possibly doing 100 million to Hex on Pulsechain. So that'd be interesting. I have to find that because I always like to hear the source originally myself, but that is just a provisional conversation at this time. So cool. That's really good comments, AK. So Tin Top says just woke up. So Tin Top, nice to see you. Wake up there. And Sophia's in the house. Haven't seen a video from Richard in a while. Yeah, a couple people are saying they'd like to see Richard again. I'm sure he'll be on again soon. He's busy, right? We want him to focus on the chain delivery. That's the main thing. And of course, he's got to coordinate with the developers as well as set the strategic tone, the theme of the launch and the gamification. Cool VIP, as we say. Cool VIP. All right, so we're still seeing at 1 to 2.4. This was up at 2.4 before, so PulseX was really down. People were after the Pulse earlier. as we say. So nice. We've got this. This was the beginning of PulseX Testnet. We were up around about 1 for 1. And of course, we actually had a little dip there. Did we have a little dip? Yeah. It's down to 9.6. So PulseX was temporarily more in demand. But of course, people weren't really using the chain. As you guys know, I was pretty much on there pretty early and I got wrecked because the price when I was on there was like $10,000. And now it's like worth like $2 or something. It's just, I got wrecked. But that's just the way it goes on the testnet. And of course, some of these people, like I think even the Magic Carpet Ride team, were dominating the validators and yield farming stuff because they got all that stuff from the sacrifices in their pool, which is massive. So it was pretty hilarious. All right, so that's what happens when one of the whales, they're number 21 on Pulsechain, and number 1, was it number, not 1, what was it number? I'm trying to think on PulseX now, I've forgotten. But hey, Benjamin G says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Hey, Benjamin G, pleasure. It's an honor. And Tintop says, woo, yawn. Hey, did I yawn? I don't know if I yawn, but you're yawning, Tintop. Nice. Hey, so I think there will be an independent company on off ramps when they see the chain take off. There will have to be. I think there's a lot in the works at the moment that we don't see that are testing on Pulsechain. So they're testing already on this. If you want to scout around on there, you could try and find all these tokens being tested. I think there's going to be quite a few things on there at the moment. So even if we go into Pulsechain testnet, I don't know, even if someone calls it, say, even bridge, there could be some bridge stuff there. Who knows? But you know, hey, let's put, what is it, Power City? We could put Watt in there for Power City. Maybe they're testing. Oh, there's so many Watt tokens. Who knows? Who knows what these tokens are, right? So that's the other thing. There's a couple here. I'll just say only 3 or 4, but who knows what these are? 2.8 million Watt tokens. That actually sounds about right, doesn't it? So look, maybe they're testing on there. Who knows? We got holders on there. What's on there? So anyway, interesting. All right, cool. So cool VIP, as we said, cool VIP. And where we going? Let's go back to the exchange. We're watching it 2-for-1 ratio on the PulseX. We got what's that? PulseBeta says, what if the OA adds enough liquidity that everyone gets a fair swap ratio with X PLS PLX? That's possible. If you had enough in there, that could happen. I just think it's going to be pretty one way. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going in there, but that's true. That would dampen down the effect, that's for sure. Tintop says, good morning, Hexkins. Hey, Tintop. Very early morning, says it's now. I will be over the moon if PLS is at the 001 post bridge. Yeah. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of plebs trying to sell into that, but I think there's going to be so many buyers. I reckon it's going to be insane. We could see a lot of big hands from outside of crypto, outside the Hex Pulsechain community that have been looking, waiting to get in. Maybe they've I think we're going to get a lot of that. Brennan says, interesting. I didn't hear about the credit card. That's new to me, says Brennan. That's okay. That's all good. I've been talking about that in the timeline every day for a few months there, Brennan. And Brent, I probably only talked about it maybe 10 times. Let's be more realistic. So it's probably true. I only talk about that every now and then, I guess. Nice one. There's the app one there. Benjamin said they'll be sick. I just don't know when he's going to launch it. That's the question. I don't know when he's going to launch the Fiat Gateway. I'll have to go back and watch his comment, but it was definitely pretty much done. But when he's going to launch it is another question. I would have thought fairly soon, is my guess. It's now says then $1. Yeah, was it the 10th of a penny, then $1? That's hardcore. D Hexkin says, listening to 4K4 Crypto, he was saying one of the devs was saying the rewards for staking PLSX will be third-party tokens like PancakeSwap. That's awesome. Yeah. So we've talked about that. That is this one at the moment. So under the pools here, PRT, which is the party token. So if you can see the token info here. So we go to the token info, we can see the party token up on here. So cool. Let's check that out. So there's the POTO token here, $1.05 at the moment. Woohoo! Up 840%. This is rocking the DMB. We've got some FOMO right here. That's an 8x, folks. It's an 8x. So very, very cool. All right, so the price is going good there. Let's have a look at the price chart here. I'm not sure how long that we go for. We haven't got long here. You can see all these big jumps here. People have been mucking around with this chart big time. But was it up at $60, $54, $37? It's hilarious. Very cool. We got pools here, PRT with all these pairings at the moment. So we got PLS, PLSX, USDC, DAI, Hedron, EHET. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Hedron's going to be a surprising one of those sort of wild cards. Now it's kind of a dual token for X. It's going to be interesting to see that play out. Now, I did see, of course, there's another airdrop. There's going to be a lot more airdrops for Hex holders, Pulsechain holders, PulseX. That's another next level, right? So we've got all this fundamentals just with the tokens themselves, but then, of course, with the airdrops for Genesis holders of Pulse and PulseX, that's a whole nother board game, right? So people know that if you've got these tokens and the price is going up, you're getting more wealthy. They're going to be wanting to do airdrops to you to attract them into their economic environment, so they don't have to just directly try and say, hey, we've got this DApp that takes Pulse, that takes PulseX. You could get these other tokens, which is quite risky, right? But instead they could do, hey, we'll airdrop to this and get involved in our community, bring some of your wealth into our community and start buying our tokens. They can do it that way too. So you have to keep your wits about you, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting to see that, though. Nice. All right, cool. So what are swaps we had lately? So PRT for Pulse, PRT for Pulse, PRT for Pulse, PulseX, PRT. So all these people, these are the last swaps for the party token, all swapping into Pulse and PulseX. That's hilarious. All in the last 5 minutes. That's so funny. So there we are, folks. Just more gamification. So what we've got a PLS 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, and we got the 5 and 5. So it's pretty much half and half there. But that's pretty interesting trend there as well. So trend is your friend, as they say. Trend is your friend. Let's see how we're going with the poll. We're up to 112 votes. We smashed 100. Well done, everybody. That's awesome. So hats off. I have to bow down for the 100 votes there. So the question is, after Pulsechain mainnet launches, what coins, tokens will you acquire the most, I should say. So I have to say that very carefully because my accent may sometimes skew the words. But after Pulsechain mainnet launches, what coin or token will you acquire the most? And of course, we've got Hex at 20% now. We've got Pulse at 54%, PulseX at 21%, and incentive or other token at 5%. Now, there's only 4 options when they give you the poll. That's why I've only got 4 options there. But once again, PLS is at 54%. So I think we've kind of got an idea here. We've got the trade, we've got the testnet here. Even though it's only play, it's only a playground. It's all fake tokens, but it does represent, the sacrifices are pretty much a good representation of what people are going to get. But there's lots of other tokens coming in from other places, PLS and test PLS and stuff like that through faucets and other stuff, and gamification. So, but pretty interesting, 2 to 1 at the moment. And of course, we go back to the full period of time. This is kind of where it's eased off at the moment. Will it just get to 2 to 1 in reality? I think it could do a lot better. I guess the amount of volume in the liquidity is going to be important for the PLX pair, but it is going to be a big one, right? It's going to be a big pair on the chain, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. It's just gone below 2 to 1 there. It's dropped down a little bit there, so it's interesting as well. Oh, it's back to 201. So 2 to 1 at the moment. So interesting stuff there. Man, if it goes to 3 to 1, would I be trying to get up a whole ton of PLSX? I guess it depends on what token I was going to use to try and trade for PLS. It's a short week there. Because it's really a third-party token that I'm thinking about trying to pick up PLX for. So I don't know whether it would be. I've got one thing in my head. I just don't want to say it on the camera. I don't want to say it on the camera. Don't make me say it. I'm not going to say it on the camera. Anyway, so let me go now. I've got to start laughing about that. All right, cool. Am I miles behind? What happened with the chat there? I was up to date, but I think I might have got miles behind on the chat. Please not say I'm not that far behind. I don't even know where I'm up to on here. Am I that far behind? No. I must have lost the comments on the chat there, so I do apologize for that. Let's go all the way back down here. I think I might jump through a few. I think we got up to 8K there. We got up to 8K. We went through those. I think we got up through all those comments. Got up to those comments. Okay, man, that was a bomb. There's a couple of you in the chat there have dropped some really nice comments in there. So hats off to you. We've got passed up all those. I must actually much be closer than I thought I was. Let's start here. I'm not sure. He updated Benjamin G here. Sorry about that. Richard is a genius. Yeah, true that. APY Vision DApp works with a PLS testnet, PRC, lol. It does? Oh, good. Because I haven't actually tested it. So I was just I was just bringing it up just out of because people are talking about yield farming and impermanent loss. Now, if you know nothing about this learn how this works, because this basically this does it all for you. It does all the math for you. It just goes in and reads the blockchain position that you got for your wallet, and there we are. It gives you all the answers, so it's pretty good. I think it's a very good site. So they're testing on the Pulsechain. That's why I said I would have thought that they were going to pull up Pulsechain. It's going to be massive. These guys are pretty fast at pulling up the chains. You can already see how many chains are in there already. So really good on there. Thanks, How I Made It. It was good. There will be a supply shock for PLS, Xskins, Diamond, and Oddlers. That's the other side of it. So that's part of the magic sauce. That's another pumpamental. I might do a whole thing on that. That's so good, Benjamin. We've got such a amount of diamond hands. I think that a lot of Pulsechain people that are not Hexskins have probably started to get, some of them have started to get that wearing off on them. So if you're not a Hex holder, but you're a Pulsechain or a PulseXican, let me know in the chat if you feel like you've got the diamond hand culture. That would be pretty cool. But I will do a survey on that on the community tab. I think that's a really good topic. Delayed gratification is the way, says Ben G. Absolutely. AK says mass adoption has a direct upward impact on a PLX due to the buyback and burn. Absolutely. And utility of the token itself through all the staking pools. People will not want to sell it and pump hard. Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying if there's a real ratio change, I'll be pretty keen on picking up as much PLX as I could. And even though I might get a delayed gratification, I think that'd be a good play. Javier Lowe says if we don't want PLS, we can switch PLX for PLS. You can on the opening day. So that will be, you might actually get a lot more PLX than you expect because of the demand for PLS that we're kind of inferring here from the testnet and from some of the other pairs that are seen to be swapped indirectly. Benjamin G said there will be many PLSX, PLS swaps. I think so, as indeed. DX says use Power City Liquid Loans front end and use the automated pulse haunted strategy. Yeah, that's going to be popular too, DX, but that's not for another probably month to 8 weeks after Pulsechain mainnet launches. So at least a month after the launch. So that's our next phase of gamification and pumpamentals for Pulsechain. Benjamin G says some missed the PLS sack and ape heavy on PLSX phase just to swap them for PLS. Yeah, I know. So I've been talking to people about that lately, and they're trying to go. They haven't got the PLS, so they want to swap some PLX for it, and some of them are swapping Hex for it too. So definitely, it seems like a strong theme. The poll at the moment, I haven't got it, the swapping poll. I've just got the preferred thing, but PLS 55% at the moment. Dingle says cheese pulse Hex hard to get. Yeah. Mind blowing, says Nicholas. Hey Nicholas, good to see you in the chat. Mind blowing, absolutely. DX is better off staking PulseX and using rewards to buy Pulse. I agree. I think that's a good strategy. And to Pave Dave says maybe Binance will list Hex and PX. They like the only on ramp that offers options to withdraw into DeFi ecosystems. True. What we were talking about on the exchanges is that Richard did talk about a centralized exchange listing. And of course, he wants to see them actually deliver that. But of course, the centralized exchanges would be mad to miss out on Pulsechain. They'd be absolutely mad to do that. First system stake copy of Ethereum, insanity not to be in the play. Obviously, if they're holding all these tokens for people, they're going to be holding that for them, right? So that's all going to be on the Ethereum chain. They're holding the underlying tokens on the centralized exchanges, so they're already in the game. But it'd be hard to, people need to protest about that and say, where's my Pulse? Where's my Pulse? And where are my tokens, my copy on Pulsechain of all my ERC20s? So that's if you've got centralized exchange tokens, you should really get them off. That's my suggestion, not investment advice, because the exchanges, most of them don't give them up. There was a Bitcoin Cash that people jumped up and down on, I think it was, so that made sure the centralized exchange were airdropping them to them. Brennan says, haha, I have no excuse to not have heard about the credit card. If it's in your timeline, I'm here nearly every day, says Brennan. Yeah, that's true. What's your strategy, says David? Yeah, I will try and get find that clip on that. So definitely, I won't do it now because it's a bit difficult to muck around doing that. But yeah, Red Squirrels in the house, INC. Yep, INC definitely. Well, we've got 5% on INC or other at the moment on the poll. Jimbo 6 is another awesome Hex Token channel member. How are you all going? Queensland in the house. Nice. Is that southeast Queensland, I guess? Very cool. Jimbo Sticks. Sachin says, how much would you say 100 million PulseX tokens will be worth in a year? Well, that's hard to say, Sachin. I do not know. You're asking me to speculate on the price there, but I think it's going to be massive. That's all I'm going to say. I'd have to speculate on the price. I don't know. No one knows. 10 million says D-Hex, 10 million. I like that. That's a good idea. We don't know that yet. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, you're talking about Pave Dave's question, yeah. Human Hex at 100 million Pulsechain is what you need. That's for sure. Pave Dave says, yeah, that's why it would be great for Binance to be the first to list PX and Hex. Yeah, a bit true. I think we've got a better chance with Coinbase, to be honest, but we'll see how we get on with that. Mixed in the house. Say love it. Hey, good to see mixed in the house there with the Hedron emoji. And nice on there. All right, let's get into a cup of coffee. I can't even speak properly now. Let's get into some of. I just wanted to go through a few more of these comments here. Personally, after seeing the APR, I will jump through that. Deep Brother former. Let's just go through some of this. We're going to see some more replies here. I think it's both. Too many degens thought this was going to be a quick buck and have been dying to sell at launch. That's true. So we've got degens in the house. They're going to try and sell for small little X returns, but I think I don't know. I just have a feeling that they're a relatively small class. We do have possibly some of the bigger holders that got really cheap prices, like not far from 4,000 on the Pulse and PulseX. So we could have some of those sell down. That would be more of an issue with the price dips. We're definitely going to have price dips, but I just don't think it's going to last that long or be as deep. The open day is going to be insane. I do agree with that. But it's going to be fascinating to see where the price actually lands for a while after the first, first hours, first minutes, first hours, first days. It's going to be interesting to see that. No one really knows the answer to that, but I do think it's going to be pretty insane. I think AK put it. I think it was AK. Was it put it? 001. That's entirely possible. But that's a pretty big gain for some large holders. But of course, how much liquidity is in the pool for all of them to sell down? And we know that there's a lot of buyers wanting to accumulate. So we'll see what happens there. It's going to be steady as she goes through the rough seas for me. Agreed. I'll be gluing my eyes onto the XStat to see what when RH says we're live. It's a short but potentially interesting window before the bridge USD is introduced, and then that delegating PLS and staking X, building PX ladders with my copy and chilling. So I think a lot of people will be doing that for sure, because obviously with the PLS side, there's only delegation in play for staking, at least until liquid loans comes. Once again, I'd be very careful about any new product that is going to try and get your PLS and your PLSX. Just be very careful. Obviously, with PLSX, we're going to have staking there with third-party opportunities for that. So that's looking pretty positive. I think as long as you're not using PLS and PLX the later, I think struggling. What else we got there? Here's Hex is the Way. So if you haven't subscribed to Hex is the Way, go subscribe. Hit the channel tab. We've got Hex is the Way. Go subscribe to his channel. He's over 800 subscribers now. So if we can get to him 1,000, Hex is the Way. We'll be really happy about that. So he's doing an awesome job doing video tutorials and, of course, expanding into the South Korean market, which is awesome stuff. Getting Hex Pulsechain out into that community is pretty awesome. Many people either scared or fudding the great opportunity. What else we got here? Hopes people trade before the bridge is launched. I look forward to hearing how they got wrecked, got the day before. This is the worry with the ratio trading, is that you could make the wrong decision. So that is a possibility. So once again, I do think it's fairly strong that people at Pulse is going to be traded up from that point of view. But you can probably use other tokens to trade for Pulse. That you get airdrops, so that's the other side of it. You don't have to use PulseX. You could use other stuff, depending on the people should be setting up pools for that. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out too. What do we got in the PulseX at the moment? Let's go to the info, and let's jump in on the PulseX one here, and we can see what pools we got up here at the moment. Wait for this to populate. Hey, we're up to an hour and 48 minutes, but I'm having so much fun. I hope you're having lots of fun, because this is like pre-launch and I'm already having fun. And it's crazy. Can you imagine when this is actually worth a real money? It's a whole different ball game, of course, right? So just remember that this is not a Space Invaders game. This is not, what were we saying the other day? We're talking about Commodore 64s and Spectrums. Spectrum computers back from the heyday, the early days of personal computers. It's taking a little while to load, but that's the way we go. Mix is a great addition. Yeah, there's a Hedron one. Hey, look, I thought I had a 10th emoji open, but I didn't. They only give you 9 emojis, so we have to get more members to get 10 more emojis. So I was wrong about that. I apologize. But the next emoji is going to be a Superman emoji. And of course, unfortunately, I thought it was 10 emojis, but 9 emojis is kind of weird. Why 9? I don't know. But of course, we get a couple more channel members. It does go up. Let me just double check what that is at the moment. We got a new channel member earlier today. So let's get into that. I think it was Morris. Morris was the latest channel member. Morris, obviously, regular on the chat. So it was pretty awesome to see that. Hey, do you like my thumbnail? The thumbnail there with Magnus, the world chess champion. I think he's still the champion at the moment. So we've got Magnus on there. I thought it was a pretty cool thumbnail. I'm actually thinking of changing the thumbnails from I had the template with the purples. I just like the purples because it's kind of like the Pulsechain PulseX colors. But I'm actually thinking about going full pictures and then just having some words on there. Let me know what you think about that in the chat. Always helpful getting feedback on that. Let me just go into the studio. See what's happening there. Let's get into it. So we'll go into the set up to there. So we'll go to there, go into memberships, and we'll see how we're doing. How you doing, as we say. How you doing? Waiting for that to load up. Boom. Close that down. Maybe it's because I got that open. Let me close that down. Yeah, it's taking a second to load, but anyway, this is not loading either. What? Let me just refresh this page. That's supposed to be loading as well. That's still loading. Can't believe it's still loading. Astry's in the house says, woohoo, howdy. I have to rewind when you finish, says Astry. Hey, nice, Astry. Good to see you in the chat. We've just been mucking around the ratio trading and what strategies you could do, the gamification. We kind of feel it's, with the, I don't know why that's taking so long to refresh that. Let me just jump out of some of these other sites that I'm on. Maybe that's I don't think that should be holding up thing because we're on the new Mac here. This is a brand new Mac, so it should be kicking some butt for sure. We'll close all these down. We'll close PulseX down. We've got in here. Oh, there we are. Cool. All right, so cool. We're still trying to data is working there. So Morris Williams is the latest member. Very, very cool. So we just need 3 more members on the channel, and we're going to open up 10 more emojis. So that's going to be cool to see that. So if you want to hit the membership button, just hit the join button. We've got Pulsechains, Hexkins, and Richard Hart Club, and of course that helps support the channel as well. We'll open up 10 more emojis once we get to that next milestone. At the moment, so at the moment we've got 9 emojis, which are pretty cool actually, to be honest. I love emojis, as you guys know. Let's jump over to here. We've got the rocket emoji, the hex emoji, the Pulsechain emoji, PulseX emoji, the woohoo, channel emoji. We've got the 555 emoji, the Richard Hart Hex Token channel emoji, the Hedron emoji, and the liquid loans emoji. So I think that's 9. Is that 9? And we need 3 more members to get 10 more emojis, which will be pretty epic. No shortage of good times ahead. Very cool. All right, let's get into here. So let's see what peers we've got. We got the third-party one, the PLS. So obviously that's just a representation peer. We've got USDC, DAI. What's it? What am I doing in here? I was in a Pulsechain one. What happened to that? I was in Pulsechain. That's not what we were trying to do. That's the one there. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, Felix. I got the PRT token. I want the party token. Let's hopefully this works. I love how they have the price up the top there. Hopefully they fixed up the links there. Why is that taking so long? Seriously. Come on. Welcome to the future. This is the first time this has happened. It's terrible. Did I mention Coin Anywhere? Quit the crack pipe, bro. I'm not sure what's that's about. Mix says he can't really say, but it's aware of encapsulation. But Pave Dave says Binance gives you the options to send FTM ERC20s to the FTM Opera on MetaMask. If they do that for X, it would open the floodgates. So even though it's centralized, they know the DeFi game. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Sanchez says Richard Hart said in his live stream 10,000X is still possible with Hex from 20 cents. What are your thoughts on that? I do believe so too, Sachin. I think that the Hex is going to surprise the upside over time. And Pulsechain is going to help it get there faster as well. Because obviously being Pulsechain super fast, super cheap, it's going to really help Hex big time. Whereas Ethereum was, slowing down the retail adoption there. It's all about adoption, right? It's all about getting more people into the thing, because the T-share rate is the magic that helps to make it a fair game for everybody getting in, no matter when they get in, unlike a lot of other projects. Why isn't that working? For goodness sake. Let's go into the Hex token there. Try that one more time. And let's try this one more time, folks. Man, that is just, that's never happened before. I'm not sure what's going on there. I must have got caught on some sort of momentary something. Right, so what else we got? Are we still at 4 members? No, 3 now. It's now 3 members. Hey, Morris is in the house. Latest Hex token channel member. Big shout out. Whoop, whoop. Morris has got all the emojis in the house. We were just talking about you, Morris. We're just talking about you. That's so funny. We got 121 votes on the thing. Let's go up to Morris's one. I'm just trying to see all the emojis up here. It's down the bottom. Where's the Morris on the ones? I can't see Morris's emojis. Oh, there. Oh, is that it there? Yeah, Morris's emojis. Cool. Looking good there, Morris. Styling it. Very nice. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, whoop, whoop, whoop. All right. And it's now nice. You guys go, welcome, man. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, woo-hoo-hoo. Welcome to Morris. Oh, we've got to do the bow down, of course, to the latest channel member. That's what I always do, the latest bow down. I can't remember that. Superman is awesome. Thanks for the welcome. You're welcome there, Morris. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? No, I'm not turning the computer back off, because it's you mean the actual site? Maybe I'll do that. So let me just open that up, and let's pull that up one more time. That might be a good idea. I'm still hodling. I'm hodling my PLS and PLX there. I'm hodling that. I've got the info. I haven't got that much open either, so I'm not sure why that is. I haven't got much open on here. Close down these price charts. How about that? We'll keep Hex still at 11.8, but looking good. Getting a nice little pump there on the hourly chart, and Hedron sitting at 3,065, so that's sort of just stuck in that path there. Here we are. Woo-hoo. All right, now let's do it. Now we're going to Pulse. That's better. Thanks for that. It was good advice there. Who was that? That was, it's now. Well done. So let's have a look at our pools. We've got PLSX, PLS. We've got the Hex PLS. I think I looked at this before, but like if you had Hedron, you could buy some PLS there. That's going to be crazy, right? Because, yeah, that's going to be Intron PLS, going to be crazy. Stable coins. I'm not sure. We're just not sure what the value of the stable coins are going to be. I suspect that they probably will get valued up pretty quickly, and that could be a surprise to the upside. But of course, no one really knows. And of course, we're waiting for those ERC20s to get bridged. That'll probably give us certainty, but it'll be interesting to see that play out. And PLS SHIB, yeah, so Shiba, that will be could happen a lot too. So we could see a lot of third-party pulls in there. It's going to be interesting to see that play out. But we've got Shiba in there at the moment, just as a rough thing. We've got Pulse Dodge. Pulse Dodge is in the house. Yeah, Pulse Dodge. What else we got? Heath, of course, is in the house, so could get a lot of that swapping on. Wise would be an obvious one with the Wise holders trying to get Pulse. That'd be interesting. Aave there, Link, Tesla. I don't know. I don't know if Tesla's a serious one, but I have seen the Tesla one there. Crow, of course, crypto.com. Yeah, Crow, and of course that could be one of the big ones too, especially if the crypto is the one that listing the going to list PLS and stuff. That could be quite bullish, the Crow one there. So keep a tune on that one. There's going to be some really dynamic pairs. You might be able to get up a lot of pulse with that possibly. We got MakerDAO here, and we've got PLP. I don't know why the PLP is in there, but we've got some of those. Cool. All right, so PLP is the LP token itself, so I'm not sure why that's in there. All right, cool VIP. That was pretty interesting. Let's go back to the exchange. Let's put in our PLS. I think we're still on 1-on-1. 1 to 9.75 is the ratio. Cool. Let us go back into the chat here. We've got Pave Dave says, when will Top Gun Maverick every time come out? I don't know, Pave Dave. But the hat's cool enough as it is. I think it's the Top Gun hat. It was a joke, sort of, from the show, IT crowd. I missed it. Sorry about that. It's like Pulsechain, says Pave Dave. It's like Pulsechain, yeah. All right, so cool. Let's have a couple more. We'll have a look at a few more of these. We're coming up on 2 hours, so it's pretty good. I hope people trade. The bridge is launched. I look forward to hearing how wrecked people got. That was kind of there. Too scared to swap due to face melting price movement. I'll just bridge mini money in when I can. So people holding on to that. Just I think I lost all that lead there. Maybe I've lost my chance there. Anyway, so there was some interesting feed in there. I have posted that link to that feed at the beginning of the live stream, so you can check that out for sure. I don't think we've got anything more from Richard here. Obviously, people are expecting a live stream. Hopefully, get Richard on a live stream. We're pretty nice. So, Richard, if you're out there, do a live stream, because I think people will be pretty keen for that. So, looking good. I will try and get a little snippet of the magic buy and burn for PulseX that apparently K4K has got from one of the devs. So I'll try and get that, pull that up somehow, and either just show it visually or whatever. So we'll see on that one maybe tomorrow. That'll be cool. That's PulseX, and it's having a little fun there. All right, cool. Looking good, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Nice hangout, 2 hours. Pretty cool. And, of course, we had Morris pop in at the end there. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I will try and do some more special live streams as we go. If we got cool topics as we go ahead, it's going to be pretty cool. Let's finish up the poll. How many? We've got 120 votes. Let us end the poll here and see what the final results are for sure, as we say. What time is it here? It's 11 p.m. in the evening here, which is amazing, right? So pretty good timing for me. Okay, so after mainnet launches, what coin token will you acquire, swap by the most? We've got PLS at 53%. So I think based on people that have talked to me as well, that they are going to trade some Hex and some PLSX for PLS. Obviously, there's third-party tokens you can do as well, as we went through some of the pools that are currently up on Testnet just now. So there's potential. 21% after PLSX, and that possibly is me. Possibly me in that crowd. I obviously want all the tokens, but this is about the most one you want to acquire the most, PLSX. So I'd probably put myself in that one. Hex at 19%. Obviously, I want more Hex, but that's the case. And then INC, the incentive token, or other tokens, 5%. So that could actually be quite a good play as well, because you could pick up a lot of volume on tokens that will be very popular later down the line. So that actually might be a good play too. So it might be worth thinking about some of those potentials as well. And it's now says, thanks, Superman, with the emojis. Woo-hoo-hoo! Pablo says, I can hardly speak properly. Sorry about that. Ken, great stream, bro. Hey, you're welcome. It's probably a good time for me to wrap up on that note. And 2 hours and 2 minutes, pretty awesome. Hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Onwards and outwards there. I'm going to play some of this in here. I'm just going to sign off. I always like to sign off. It is polite after all. Watching. Let's paste on that. Bam. All right. Nice. Astrid says, cheers. Hey, you're welcome. And thanks for watching. Let's get some emojis. If you're a Hex Token channel member, including you, Morris, let's smash out those emojis on the way out. And let's see. We get 3 more members, and we will have 10 more emojis. This will be a crazy house. Everyone will create Hex Token channels, the crazy place for emojis. That's going to be pretty cool. But they're all going to be something that we recognize in the community. It's going to be pretty fun. All right. Let me just, I pushed the wrong button there. Let me push this one. There we are, that button there. All right. Take care now. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. Take care.